Welcome to this edition of What Does This Deck Do? We're switching gears and formats this week by focusing on Pauper. The deck we'll be looking at this week is Pauper Affinity. Let's get started. Affinity is one of the longest stalwarts of the Pauper format, based primarily on the Affinity for Artifacts mechanic that was originally printed in Mirrodin block. It has existed and persisted throughout much of Pauper's history, and for good reason. Pauper is one of the few formats where the original Mirrodin cycle of artifact lands are still legal. In almost every metagame era that Pauper has had, there has been an Affinity deck of some color combination. Affinity and Pauper has also had the esteemed honor of being an Affinity deck with actual cards that have Affinity for Artifacts in it. The core of Affinity is all based in the synergy between its cards and reduced cost threats that hit the board early, along with some controlling elements. The deck is a mid-range control deck that seeks to deploy cards like Mirror Enforcer and Refurbished Familiar to win the game. Cards like Card-Cleansed Shaman and Galvanic Blast control the board against creature decks, and Thoughtcast allows it to draw cards. In addition, cards like Blood Fountain not only generate artifact counts for a single mana, but they allow the Affinity deck to recur its threats if they end up in the graveyard, which means the deck has a lot of inevitability. Affinity is a deck that pushes the raw boundaries of Pauper at times, and as such it has been responsible for a number of cards being banned from the format. Many of these cards made Affinity an overpowering deck in Pauper, a format that for all of its power level does have very few checks and balances for when things are out of sync. The Pauper community as a whole has been traditionally divided on these bans, primarily because it is often believed that the true culprit is the artifact lands, both the original Mirrodin ones and the Modern Horizons 2 bridge lands. Very recently, however, a poll ran by the Pauper format panel seemed to indicate that players preferred the original artifact lands to remain in the format over the bridges. The most recent banning that impacted this archetype was the downshifted card All That Glitters, which pushed the deck to jump out of its traditional roots in Grixis colors to more Azorius and Jeskai color combinations. As noted, Affinity has often received many new printings that have pushed the deck forward, keeping it relevant and strong. Not all these printings result in a ban. One of the few most impactful printings the deck has received came in the form of one of Pauper's most relevant printings in a long time, and that is Deadly Dispute. Dispute has pushed much of the format, but most especially has added to Affinity's game plan. In addition, the newest printing to impact Affinity, Refurbished Familiar from Modern Horizons 3, has become an integral part of Affinity's game plan and has settled well into Pauper as a whole. The current stock incarnation of the deck is Grixis colored as a result, but we've seen in the past new printings can cause the deck to jump to other color combinations. Thanks for checking out this week's edition of What Does This Deck Do? If you like what you saw here, please hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications on future videos. I'm looking forward to doing some more Pauper deck videos as well here, so be on the lookout for that. With that said, have a great week, and I'll see you next time.